Hello, people. My name is Bharatwaj, and I'm a philosophy student at IIT Bombay at the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. Today's clip or video is about Hamlet, which, according to me, is Shakespeare's greatest. It is one of to me it is one of the greatest pieces of art, and it is one of the wonders of the world. I'd like to say rather pretentiously. um, and in my opinion, it is really beautiful, and it contains amazing things. And as a student of philosophy, I always see Shakespeare as a philosopher, or at least as someone who has philosophical insights that are very useful. And but the choice of Hamlet um, is not only because it is one of his greatest achievements, but there is also a personal reason for that, and that is that I lost my father 4 months ago in January, and I still haven't sort of recovered from the meaning gap that has caused in my life, because I've still have hard time in understanding why and how. And I tried many things. I tried books, lectures, and so on, but nothing worked for me. At least nothing did. But Hamlet gave me a wonderful cathartic experience. It didn't solve anything, nor did it give any closure, because I don't want any closure, nor do I want any solutions. But it sort of, which is what I think art does, it allows you to see yourself enacted on a great scene or on a great platform, and which is what in my experience Hamlet did for me. And so I'm going to go to Hamlet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a small snippet. At least for this, I'm planning to do more Shakespeare gems, so to speak. I mean, small insights from Shakespeare, which to me are really piercing, and they are really something, and they should be read. That's the whole aim here, to sort of encourage reading at least these amazing passages, but if possible the whole thing. Anyway, so let's not go too much into that. So this is my Shakespeare that I use. This is the Arden Shakespeare edition, which is, just like I said, it's one of the wonders of the world, and it contains, sorry, did it the wrong way. It contains almost everything, that not only those things that he wrote, but also some of the more doubtful things which are attributed to him, which might not. There are doubts among scholars, and so there are amazing essays by Shakespeare experts, and all of these things are very useful. Anyway, so I want you to, if it is possible, later, after seeing the video or along with me here, to go to the 85th line, the 86th line actually, in Hamlet, where the king, whose name is Claudius, begins his speech. He begins his speech in response to the speech that Hamlet makes. And as I say all this, I need to give some background. Okay, so Hamlet, who is the hero of our play, loses his father. And the scene is the funeral. Okay, and Hamlet is crying, and Hamlet cannot contain his grief. Hamlet cannot stop his sorrow, and he is mourning constantly. And what Shakespeare calls, in his beautiful phrase, obstinate grief. Does he say that? Obsequious sorrow. And he says obstinate condolement. Yes, obstinate condolement. This is the this is the situation that Hamlet is in. He is obstinately, adamantly crying, and he is sort of in that zone, in that mode. And in the funeral, he is, of course, really broken. So the new king, I don't want to give away any of the this there is a lot that you should, there is this kind of a suspense which I don't want to give away. So all I can say is, so the king, the new king, who takes the place of Hamlet's father, who is the king. Oh yeah, so sorry. Hamlet is a prince of Denmark, and his father is the king of Denmark. His father dies, another king comes up, takes that place. He becomes the new king. So he is now chastising, chiding Hamlet for crying too much. Okay, so this is sort of the scene setting. And now comes the insight, the beauty. Okay, so the new king tells Hamlet that it is sweet and commendable in your nature to give these mourning duties to your father, but you must know your father lost a father, that father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. So that's the first segment that I want to talk about. I'm not really competent to talk about the meter, what's happening in that passage. I don't understand iambic pentameter that well, so I don't want to comment on all that. But the point, the insight, the philosophical perspective here is that the king is trying to tell Hamlet that what has happened is universal. What has happened to you is general. What has happened to you happens to everybody. So later down in the same speech, he'll say that it is in a sense the great theme of nature, the losing of fathers, the death of fathers. So it's just common. It happens to everybody. And so because it happens to everybody, do your sorrow for some time, then please stop it, become a man, all that sexism, be a man, get up and embrace life. This is basically what he says. He says, and there is a line that the Queen says, which kind of substantiates what I'm saying. She says, you should know it is common, it is general, it is universal. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity. So the other piece of wisdom here is, all that lives must die, and therefore you should be fine in a sense with this. I see this, and I'm done with the reading. That's all the reading I can actually do. Is there anything else that I think I should read to make this point? Yeah, just read that point. To reason, this is most absurd, your sorrow, whose common theme, reason's common theme, is death of fathers. Okay, so it is natural that fathers die, and so you should kind of, like we say in Hindi, bas kar yaar, bahut hua. So that's the idea there, and it's a brilliant piece of writing. Now, what I think is happening there is that everybody around Hamlet is trying to give some meaning to his sorrow. They are trying to universalize his sorrow. They are trying to conceptualize his personal, particular, and singular grief. They are trying to make it, they are trying to subsume it into a universal. Shakespeare is not ready for that. Shakespeare says no. Sorry, Hamlet is not ready for that. And Hamlet says no. He says, he doesn't literally put it this way, but that's how he takes this advice. He says, what has happened to me is my own. It's in Heideggerian, there's a Heideggerian term, at least that's how it is translated. It's called ownmost. It's your own individual particular sorrow. And there is nothing universal about it. There is nothing general about it. And there is no way in which it can be subsumed into a universal. Right? And he is not ready to accept this idea that there can be an objective measurement of something as subjective as your own sadness. There is a Romanian philosopher, and you all can kill me in the comment section because I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. I've actually never heard his name uttered. I just know it from reading. His name is Emil Cioran. I'm so sorry. Cioran. He's one of my favorite he's one of my favorite thinkers and philosophers and writers, and he's a great Romanian. He's very famous now, and in one of his texts he mentions how you cannot tell someone that that either that there is an objective reason for them to grieve or to stop grieving, because on the basis of just logic, something that's subjective cannot have an objective measure, right? Something that's subjective cannot be measured or determined objectively, because it is by its nature the opposite of objectivity. Right? It's the opposite of the universal. It is the opposite of the general. It is the opposite of the conceptual. So why somebody is grieving, or why somebody is sorrowful, why somebody is sad, why somebody is depressed, you have no way. Not only don't you have a moral right, but you don't even have a logical right to sort of measure that, to try and put it into a universal grid, and then to ask that person to quit suffering or to quit grieving because everybody is, or because this happens to everybody. No, it doesn't. This particular death, this particular ending of life only happens to me. It is my individual, particular and singular event. It's something that's uniquely and completely mine. This sorrow is purely personal. There's nothing universal about it. So therefore, you cannot give it a universal measurement. You cannot give it, in other words, you cannot give it a reason. And at the same time, you cannot give it a reason to stop. So that's what that small passage means. I hope you liked it. It's to me a very emotional passage. I don't know if I did it justice. I just read a few and then I went into an explanatory thing. But you should check it out. You should check Hamlet out. It's just amazing. Yeah. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope to come back with something interesting from Shakespeare. Thank you.